Good evening, everybody. This jacket feels a little loose. Us wrestlers always had a big sweatshirt underneath it, so but it feels good. So first, congratulations to the entire 2023 Michigan State Athletics Hall of Fame class of inductees. It's a great honor to be forever linked with so many legendary coaches and athletes. Thank you to the university. Thank you to the selection committee for selecting me to be a part of this class. I also want to thank God for giving me the opportunity and the ability to be in front of you tonight and today. So I also want to thank all those that are in attendance that are here specifically for me. It's a wonderful honor and a blessing to have someone here that's been part of all my life's journey from my childhood till now. I can't thank you all enough for taking time out of your schedules, taking times out of your life to be here to support me. Thank you to Kate Sauter and the Varsity S Club for putting on this spectacular event. You have been great throughout this whole entire process from the moment that I spoke with you. And also thank you to the athletic department and to our athletic director, Mr. Alan Haller, for this selection and obviously for this great event. I've been told by many others that it keeps getting better and better every single year, and that is a true testament to you. But I also want to apologize to you for being a little quiet on that initial call. So first, when you called, I didn't know the number. So, we all know what happens when you don't know the number. You're kind of looking at it, trying to determine if you're going to answer the call. And something told me to answer the call. So then he told me his name, and then I was a little surprised by that. And at that time, then he stated, you're probably wondering why I'm calling. And my initial thought was, man, the Spartan Fund is really taking this Give Green Day to a whole nother level. Having personal phone calls from the AD. My pocketbook wasn't ready that day. So I'm serious. So, standing in front of you tonight is really surreal. It feels like a dream. My competitive career here at Michigan State was from 1994 until 1998. So I'm consistently reminded by my kids that's the olden days. I tell them it's only the 1990s and not the 1890s, but they don't really care about that. But it was simply some of the best times of my life. That phone call from Alan in June brought a wave of memories over me, memories from throughout my life and my athletic career. So in 1996, here at the Breslin Center is where I won my first Big Ten title. Mentioned there on the video, how special that was. The whole arena here was full. I was, not too far away from everybody sitting here now when the finals match happened. And that particular Big Ten title solidified everything that I had been doing up until that point to show everyone in the college world that what I was doing was not a fluke. I remember sitting in the locker room, right back there, and one of my teammates, I was just kind of soaking it in. One of my teammates came in. It was actually the same teammate that that had me on as a host for the recruiting visit, and he just simply said, "Hey, you did it. They didn't see you coming, but you did." And what he meant by that is the year prior, during my redshirt year, Coach Minko had taken myself, some other red shirts, as well as some other guys that are on the team that weren't starters at the time, to the Big Ten championships to see what it was like once you had that opportunity to be on the mat and it was potentially your turn. At that Big Ten championships, I guess I had to backtrack. The guy that I beat here in the Breslin Center was the defending Big Ten champion. From the year before, he won it in 1995. So at that Big Ten tournament that Coach took us to, sitting there watching the finals match, and that same opponent was wrestling my roommate in the finals. And he won the finals there against my roommate. But on the bus ride home, I told my teammates that I was going to win the Big Ten title next year. So some of them said, some of them laughed, some of them had jokes about it, and some of them said, okay, we're going to see you do it. But from what I saw that weekend, right then and there, I knew what was possible for me. It was just like the rest of my life. There were footprints for me to follow. I just needed to follow them. So I'm standing in front of you today due to a combination of blind faith, some dreams, a vision, some goals, a little elbow grease, and a team of people that poured into me. I was born and raised in the city of Detroit, but my hometown, or my home, was Royal Oak Township. This is the same neighborhood where my grandfather Scipio and my grandmother Claremont lived and raised their 10 kids. My mother Gloria is one of those 10 children. I also had 29 first cousins on that side of the family that you would always find at my grandmother's house. My grandmother Maddie Morgan, who's also in the crowd today at the ripe young age of 94. Okay. So she's the matriarch of her family. She also raised many of her 10 children in the same neighborhood. My father, Charlie, is one of those 10 children, and my grandmother had 23 first cousins on that side of the family. So my parents, my aunts, my uncles, my older cousins, all attended the same grade schools, same high schools that I would attend. My parents began dating when they were at Ferndale High School. Both of them were also very good athletes. My father's uncles and their best friends from the neighborhood were members of the first wrestling team in the late 1960s. My parents got married a few years after high school while in college and started a family at a young age. I'm one of those 3 sons, and my older brother Chuck and younger brother with my younger brother JP as well. My family placed a high emphasis on getting a top-notch education in athletics. Athletics was a vehicle for us to get an education. I was lucky that there was no shortage of role models around me. Within my family, we always had somebody that did something. We were blessed to be able to have role models within our family and examples that we'd always be able to look within for greatness. We're always told about or shown the high school records of our uncles that are still standing today. We're told about the Teacher of the Year awards, like my Aunt Pam, the law school, the business school, the college athletic accomplishments of my uncles, aunts, and cousins. In my neighborhood, I learned how to be competitive, how to be tough, and how not to have a fear of losing. We played as many competitive games as possible and played every sport that was available to us. Typically, I would be the smallest one out there, so I always felt like I had something to prove. I started to develop a chip on my shoulder, and I always used that edge. I always used that as my edge, even as I continued my college career. So I stand in front of you today not only because I made an investment in myself, but because there was a tremendous investment made into me by so many other people. I'm going to take some time to introduce you to some of those people. Daddy. So the story goes, When my father found out he was having his first child, he told his brothers that he was going to be, that he was always going to be there for his children, and so would they. My brother Chuck is the oldest of 23 of my grandmother's grandchildren. Daddy, you lived up to that promise. Thank you for being a role model and our hero. Thank you for not having to look outside of our home for a man to look up to and follow. Not only for myself, but for my brothers, for your brothers, your nieces, your nephews, and all the kids in the neighborhood, all the kids you taught, and all the kids you coached. Your reach will be felt for many generations to come. You're in the Hall of Fame, Daddy. You're in the Hall of Fame as a coach, as a dad, and I thank you. Mama, my biggest fan. You said you just wanted to be a part of making meals, making sure the uniforms were clean, and cheering us on. And you were, and you did all those things, but you were much more than that. I got my toughness from you. I learned how to carry a big stick from you. The stories we were told about how tough you were are legendary. Gloria Morgan was not to be played with. And she would let you know by saying, I'm not to be played with. Or she would simply say, I'm not the one. I'm not sure who the one is, but she wasn't it. You were my first competition. I used to challenge you in races. I couldn't beat you. Took me until about 7th grade to do so, and I thought I was big stuff at the time. So around that time, it was the same time that I got to the same height or a little bit taller than my mom. And I looked at her and said, Mom, I'm taller than you. And she said, that's okay, I can still knock you down. Thank you, Mama. You're in the Hall of Fame. To my wife, Michelle, you've been there through it all. From high school to college, you experienced the highest of highs. We experienced the lowest of lows. You were there in the light in the high school for the state championships, for the Big Ten titles, for the All-American honors. Most importantly, you were there in the dark when the work had to be done, when the sacrifices had to be made, and all the things that went into being a champion that people don't see. You have provided love, constant support, just a few tongue lashings. We both graduated from Ferndale High School. We both graduated from Michigan State. You're a Spartan dog. You have provided me with the 4 greatest gifts in the world. You're a W mom, you're a W wife, and the rock of our family. I love you, thank you, and welcome to the Hall of Fame. My brother Chuck, thank you for being the great leader and big brother that you are. You gave me something to strive for. You set the pace for all of us. In high school, you showed me what work ethic was really about, that it's possible to win state championships, and it's possible to wrestle in college. You never took it easy on me. At the time, I did not appreciate it, but it got me ready. I love you and I thank you. JP, also my brother, you helped me to be a better person. When you were born, I became a big brother. You helped me to understand how to set an example and how to lead. You were pulled along and was at every single event. You watched quietly, you never complained. You made me a better wrestler, as I had to learn to teach you at an early age. I am grateful and appreciative of how you have always been and continue to be there for me, Chuck, our parents, your niece, nephews, and our entire family. I love you and thank you. Carlos, We were raised as brothers, and we made each other better. We did everything together. We competed at home, the park, on the baseball teams, football teams, and we tried to knock each other out in boxing. And even though you never let me be Batman, you'll always be my quarterback. To my family, I want to thank my entire family. There's too many to name individually. As you see, I have a pretty huge family. We grew up and we were raised in something special. I appreciate all my uncles, aunts, and cousins. You all poured something into me, and for that I will be forever grateful. But I do want to give two of my uncles some special recognition and their families. My Uncle Gilbert, who's a Spartan, my Uncle Glenn and their families. You traveled around this country. You made time for my events. You had the entire Jennison Fieldhouse rocking, or any other arena chanting, "Let's go, David." You made people think that I had an entourage. You got yourself and my grandma kicked out of a few gyms. But I thank you, and we're in the Hall of Fame. Coach Bezier, my high school coach, thank you for pouring yourself into me, pouring yourself into my career, pouring yourself into my life, and pouring yourself into the entire Ferndale High School community. Coach James Phillips, thank you for taking a chance on me, let me show and prove that I had what it took to compete on the college level as a true freshman. I hope that you're resting easy and having a concoction tonight. Coach Minko, again, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for believing me, even out of high school. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to compete for this great university. Thank you for always keeping it real with me. Thank you for the system. Thank you for the pillars. And the guys on the team know this. Thank you for shooting the gun my way often. On our call, you reminded me what it took to get here, of all the hard work, hours, and dedication that most don't see. And I appreciate you for everything that you've done for me. Roger Chandler and Chris Williams. Roger, thank you for your efforts to help this selection possible. Thank you for being there to coach the team and me as an individual and as a training partner in the final year of my career. Chris, also thank you for your efforts for making this happen, for being a great teammate, training partner, and friend. I'm excited for what both of you are doing here with the program and your current leadership and for the wrestling team. To Coach Dean, Coach Pentelio, all the graduate assistants, volunteer assistants, athletic trainers, team managers, academic support staff, and all my teammates here at MSU. Man, boy, did we have something special while we were here. This would not be possible without the work that we put in together. I also want to give a shout out to two special teammates. First, Pat McNamara. Thank you for being here tonight, Pat. When you arrived in this wrestling room, you elevated my career. And I thank you for that. My best friend, while I was here at Michigan State, best friend continues to be my top dog, Isaac Miller. Thank you for being here tonight. I know you were just on that exercise bike most of the time to just hang out with me and talk to me. You didn't have to be there, but I appreciate it, okay? You're my guy. Jace, Deacon, Cullen, and Hudson, You're the greatest gifts that I've ever received. And I hope that you're taking all of this in and enjoying every second of this moment. My hope all this inspires you and inspires you to continue to be great, and that you strive to be the best in whatever it is that you do. I love you, and always remember, and you just saw it on that video, that your dad was him. So to wrestling, sports are a metaphor for life. Wrestling teaches you how to get up when you're knocked down, how to build character. When life hits hard, and it will, you must keep fighting and pushing on. I wasn't always the best, strongest, or top dog. I was an undersized freshman starting high school. I was 10 pounds underweight for the lightest weight class. I lost my first match in high school by fall, was pinned by the defending state champion. I lost my first match in college by fall to the number 2 wrestler in the country. But I wasn't afraid to work at it. I wasn't afraid to work for it. I wasn't afraid to fight for it. The sport in wrestling gave me the opportunity to do just that, and to do that at the highest level. And for that, I will be forever grateful. To this university, Michigan State University, this is such a special place. There's a special aura for me and a special feeling that I get when I get close to the Red Cedar River. This became my second home. I spent the summer of 1994 to the summer of 2001 here as an athlete and a graduate assistant coach. I graduated from this great university with a bachelor's degree in kinesiology and a master's degree in athletic administration. And at that point, I was well on my way of becoming the next Johnny Spirit. So it was my time to go and to leave this university. But Michigan State University never leaves you. It becomes part of your blood, and it's part of mine. Now I and my family's name will live among the Spartan greats forever. I am a Spartan dog for life. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for this Hall of Fame induction, and go green.